And we are live, I think. Let's see how long it takes for some people to tune in. Maybe this will be the week when nobody tunes in. We shall see. Hello, hello. We're finally here. Thing is, 30-second delay. So, boom. Let's see what happens. I just heard some weird noises. Oh, yes, this is going to be fun. And no, this isn't the beginning of the podcast. Imagine if it was this boring. And we have one viewer. Congratulations, me. Someone is here. Let's see if they say anything. Haha. I have one viewer so far. Just going to wait for a couple more, and then we'll start actually doing the podcast. But what I did last week, and it seemed to work out well, was wait 5 minutes, talk to you guys for a little bit, and then start the podcast. So I'll do that. 2 viewers. Here we go. Starting to rake in the viewers. One by one. Refresh the live chat in case it's not working. Two viewers. Good stuff. All right. Well, hi guys. How's it going? Well, thank you for watching the podcast today. It always means a lot when people do that. So basically the way it works, I'm going to talk to you guys for a little bit if you have anything to say before I start, and then I'll just start. And so basically it'll run like a normal podcast, but the thing about it is that you guys get to be a part of the show because you get to ask questions and put your input in on what I'm talking about and all that good stuff. So should be pretty fun. Last week's one went really well. This week, there's been fuck all in news and songs released and all that. So I'm doing a couple of lists in the show today. Hey, Hannah, how's it going? Hey, Marvelous. What is up? 5 viewers now. Sick. Well, I'm going to start podcasting at like 5 past. Hey, Anna, how are you? So basically, yeah, I just described exactly what's going to happen. So should be fun. Sorry that my Motionless in White review isn't up yet because it's been a struggle to get through that album. I know the review will be fun, but actually having to listen to it a whole bunch of times, that is a real downer. But the Novels review is out, so go watch that. It's a fucking awesome album. Punk rock's having a good year. 2 minutes and we'll kick this bad boy off. And I'll tell you about what I'm going to be talking about today. Because there's not, as I said, there's not a lot that's happened this week, which is just great considering it's the second week of me doing this again and there's basically nothing to talk about. So, all right, we'll start in 1 minute. And I'll go and press record on the camera. Hey, Sean, how's it going, man? All right, I'm going to go press record on the camera. I'll be right back. All right. Nearly ready to go. Punk rock rules sometimes. Yeah, it's a good call. It's been pretty crap for a little while, and now it's good again. So, all right, let's kick this bitch off. So, hello, Yeah, wow. See, now you get to see a blooper of me starting this thing because I'm a fucking... For someone who talks on YouTube all the time, I can't really talk. All right. So, hello to everyone watching live. Hello to everyone watching later on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube. My name is Christian. I'm the lead guitar player in the progressive rock band Sebsons and the sole member of the emo punk band Cross the Line. Welcome back to the Let's Talk podcast. This week has been a really, really slow week. There's been shit all that's come out in news, in songs, in albums of quality. There's been a couple of really good albums. One really bad one that my review will be out a bit later, probably tomorrow. So let's run through what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to go back over the new track from Pvris called Heaven. I've already reviewed it. It's already up on my channel, but I want to see what you guys have to say about it. So I'm going to talk about that and talk about what we should expect from the new record. We're going to talk about the new Paramore song that was released called Told You So. We're going to talk about the new Rancid track called Ghost of a Chance and how they're having a new record out in June. We can talk about the All American Rejects teasing new music and Fall Out Boy teasing new music, I guess. I mean, after the last one, I'm not really that interested. And then that's really all that's happened in news and songs this week. So I'm going to do two lists. And so the first one is going to be the top 10 forgotten Paramore songs. The reason I'm doing that is because their new record After Laughter comes out next week. And why not do a list on Paramore just before the album comes out of the songs that they never really play anymore in their sets, or even songs that just kind of get overlooked. So going to do that. And then this week I am going to a whole bunch of shows. I'm going to go see Architects supported by Ocean Grove, and I'm going to go see All Time Low supported by Neck Deep and The Main. So I'm going to do a dream set list of All Time Low songs. So in order of what I wish it would be for this upcoming tour. There's only one song on there from the new record because the record isn't out yet, so they shouldn't really be playing a whole bunch off it. And they haven't toured Future Hearts in Australia yet, so there's a bunch from that as well. So yeah, that's going to be the show today. Thank you to everyone who's watching right now. You guys rule. And thanks to everybody who's subscribed on, the YouTube and iTunes and everything like that. Really means a lot. So let's dive right on in. So Pvris released a new single this week. It's titled Heaven. It's going to be off the new record titled All We Know of Heaven, All We Need of Hell. It's going to be out on August 4th. It's a follow-up to the debut record, White Noise, which I think is probably one of the best debut records of all time. And I really do think that Smoke is probably would be in the top 10 best opening tracks of all time of a record, in my opinion. So this new song, Heaven, I was really nervous about, and I already talked about that in my review, but I was really, really nervous because we've seen bands like Fall Out Boy go completely into the pop direction when they got popular. And the worry I had with Pvris was they're getting covered by MTV all the time. They're in the press all the time. They're really, really popular, and they're only getting bigger over time. And I was worried that they were just going to go for that radio sound. Now, Pvris have always been poppy. They have. Not so much on their first early EPs, but ever since then, they have been really, really poppy. But they've had that rock element to them, and I was worried that the rock element was just going to get thrown away. And they didn't do that on this track. It's a really, really good song, and it's got everything that I love about Pvris in it. There's guitars in it that I love. I always love when they do the ambient guitar thing, especially when they add some distortion to that ambient guitar. And they definitely do that, especially in like breakdown bridge that they do. But it also has Lynn doing some absolutely great things melodically. The drums sound massive, and I love that. And I love the bass lines in the verses, especially the second verse, just adds so much to the track. And yeah, a really, really great song. So if that's any indication for what we're going to get from the record, that is awesome. I know that they've been performing in the UK and Europe this week. And I know they performed another song, but I haven't watched it because I really want my first experience of all these songs to be properly recorded material. And the sad thing is, I really want to go see these songs live, but they're going on tour over here with Amity Affliction. And the other band supporting them on that tour is Beartooth. So I really, really want to go see Pvris and Beartooth, but I don't want to give the Amity Affliction any money. if that's fair. I just think they're a horrible band that should go away, and I don't want to support them in any way. So I can't really go to that tour. I'm hoping they'll do a sideshow. Probably not likely, but I hope they do. And if not, I'm going to beg someone for a press pass because I just don't want to give the Amity Affliction any kind of money. So let's see what you guys are saying about this new Pvris track. Let me know your thoughts right now. Comment on the live stream if you're watching. Sean says, why is Pvris on the Amity and Beartooth tour, though? It's a very good question. They don't fit that bill at all. It's like Amity Affliction, Pvris, Beartooth, and Make Them Suffer. Pvris just such an odd thing to put on that bill. And I'm not sure why they did it. They could come over here and do a headline tour if they wanted to. My God, Moose Blood came over here and did a headline tour, and they sold out night after night after night after night after night. So why Pvris don't think they could do that? I don't know, but maybe they are saving it for like later in the year or something. Any other comments on the Pvris track? Rye Bread. Hey man, how's it going? I think the vocals are brilliant on Heaven. I love the song. Not one of my favorite Pvris songs, but White Noise was my third favorite album of 2014. This song is amazing. It was actually, I think it was my third favorite album of 2014 as well, because I think it just came behind Issues and Architects. But yeah, I think the vocals are brilliant on Heaven. Kind of remind me of Lord a little bit in the first verse, but after that, she just explodes. She's got a great voice, probably the best female voice in rock music at the moment. And Marvelous says the Amity Affliction are trash. Yes, they are. If you listen to them, I'm not sure what's wrong with you. There's so much better music out there. Really? All right, let's move on to the next topic. Let's see what we've got coming up. All right. Paramore have released a new song from their record After Laughter that's coming out next week. It's called Told You So. I'm loving how quickly this record is coming out. I wish more bands would do it. Just announce it and then a few weeks later release it. Only release 2 songs before it comes out because that's the perfect amount. And the thing that I love about this song is just the consistency of the tone from the first single, because I was kind of worried that Hard Times would just be an outlier on the record. I'm not sure why I thought that, but I kind of had that feeling. And then Told You So came out, and obviously that's not the case. What I would have liked to have heard from Told You So, though, was a bit of an opposite song from Hard Times. Like, it would have been good to hear maybe just 2 very different songs that are going to be on the record, because I have no doubt that this record is going to have a lot of variation, because all of Paramore's records have had a lot of variation. And so these 2 songs are very similar. I think Hard Times is just a much bigger song, like melodically. The chorus is much more memorable. Told You So is a bit more laid back, chilled out. You can tell why it's in the middle of the record. I really love the guitar work in Told You So, though. I think it's awesome, and I can't wait to hear this song live as well. I really hope they announce a tour over here soon. I have a feeling they won't for like at least a year and a half, probably, which would be disappointing. But yeah, something that I would like to hear, though, on this record is hear Zach open up a little bit more, because he was such a dynamic part of Paramore's sound all the way up until he wasn't on the self-titled record. And even if he doesn't open up on this record, when you see him live, he will. I remember seeing him drum for Reliant K when they came over here and played a festival, and a couple of the members couldn't come. And he is just such a phenomenal drummer. It's just with this new style that Paramore's doing, he doesn't really get to do a lot. Kind of just has to be that backbone, and he doesn't really get to show off a lot. But I think there probably will be a couple of songs where he does, and then in the live show we'll get that. So it's not that big a deal, but just would be good to hear a little more from him on these tracks. What have you guys got to say about this song? Start commenting as I'm talking about it so that I don't have to have any, blank passages of no audio, because as much as this is basically just a live thing, I am going to put it on iTunes, so it would be good to do that. And yes, Hayley Williams is hot, I guess. Thanks, Sean, for your comment there. Nobody got anything? That's all right. Let's move on. What have we got going up next? This is probably going to be a bit of a shorter podcast, not an hour this time, probably half an hour, maybe a little bit longer. All right. So, oh no, here we go. One comment. Rye Bread. I Told You So was a brilliant masterpiece. Hayley Williams, to me, the best vocalist ever. Paramore have never released a bad song ever to me. I think they've released a bad song, probably, if I looked through. Maybe they haven't. Haven't looked through. Actually, I looked through all their songs today because I was putting together a list. But yeah, maybe they haven't released a bad song ever. It's a good thing that I'd have to go through and have a look at that. But she's got a good voice. I don't think it's one of the best voices ever, but that's your opinion. Marvelous. It's fine, not as good as Hard Times. I agree with that. I don't think it's fine. I think it's really good, but I think Hard Times is a level above. So yeah, it's a good song. Let's see where the rest of the record goes. I'm really excited to listen to it, and I'm really glad it's coming out so quickly. Anna says, Paramore took a risk with these two songs, changed their sound a bit, but it worked, and I'm excited to hear the rest of their album. Yeah, I kind of expected this kind of change in sound after I heard Grow Up. I can't remember the exact naming, but yeah, I was kind of expecting this kind of sound after I heard that song, and I expected the distorted guitars to go away a little bit. Oh, there's a delay, is there, Hannah? As in, like, between me talking and the audio, or like 30, like, because I put a 30-second delay on this so that it wouldn't buffer as much. Hey, Katie, how's it going? All right, so let's move on. Okay, let's not move on. Rybert says, I think Told You So is way better than Hard Times. Really? That surprises me. I think, especially considering they've said that Told You So isn't a single, and I understand why it's not. And yeah, Zach, I am really excited for the record as well. Okay, let's move on. So Rancid have released a new song this week. It's titled Ghost of a Chance. It's going to be from the new record titled Troublemaker. It's going to be out on June 9th. This is their 9th record. For a band that's been around for this long, I'm surprised they've only done 9, to be honest. But after hearing this song, I'm really, really excited for it. Punk rock is back in a big way in 2017. And Rancid haven't released a great record in a while. It's probably their best song in like over a decade. And I looked through, I think it's 17 tracks long, this record, and it's clocks in at like 33 minutes. It's just going to be minute and a half bangers for the whole thing. Tim Armstrong sounding great again. He's never been a good vocalist, but for what Rancid do, he is a really good vocalist. And he slurs he just sounds drunk whenever he's singing, really. And it's just the Rancid sound, and it sounds great. I'm really excited that punk rock is having a comeback this year. I really love the guitars in this track as well. I love how many like really simplistic but cool sounding guitar solos there are just weaved throughout the track. And the track's only a minute and a half long, and it absolutely smashes for the whole time. The chorus is really, really good, and I just really love the melody. It's just delivered in just such a grungy, dirty way from Tim Armstrong, because that's just how he sounds. And I love that. It's just the Rancid sound. I don't think anybody else could really get away with it as much as they do. I've never seen the band live, but I'm really excited to see this track live. And I'm really excited for the record. I didn't think I'd be excited for a Rancid record in 2017, but the song's changed my mind. I'm actually really excited to hear what it is. So, you know, let's see what you guys have to say about it. Right, TJ, okay, this is just off topic a little bit. Am I going to review the new Papa Roach album? I haven't listened to the singles. When's it coming out? Because if I'll review it if it's not a busy week. Rybread says, "Oh, I didn't know Rancid released a new song." Yeah, and it's great. You should go check it out. It was actually something that Alt Press covered, and I never expected them to cover anything genuine. Marvelous says, "Have you listened to No Effects or Donuts or Donuts?" I have listened to No Effects. I think they're a lot of fun. I'm not a massive fan. I'm not even a massive fan of Rancid. I just think this song is really, really good. So, yeah. Rybread says, never been a huge Rancid fan personally. Neither have I. I think I've listened to like 2 of their records and I thought they were good. I get why they're so influential, but this song just slams. All right. So let's talk about a bit of speculation that's going on this week from a couple of bands. So this week, the All-American Rejects started teasing people. And I talked about this last week a little bit, but I'm really getting over the whole teasing thing now. It's just been so played out and everybody does it. So basically what the All-American Rejects did is what every other band on the planet does when they're about to release new music. They blanked out their social media. They started putting up these cryptic images and started teasing what is probably going to be new music. It's been a long time since we've had an All-American Rejects record, and it's been an even longer time since we've had a good All-American Rejects album. The last one that was great was the one that had Gives You Hell on it, I think. I think that record's great. It's the first record I ever heard from them, actually. And there are some absolutely banging songs on it. But, you know, I'm excited for a new All-American Rejects record, to be honest. If it's in a different direction to what the last record was, that would be amazing, because I just really wasn't a fan of what they did on that last record. I thought it just went way too far to the pop side and really took away everything that made them special. Something that a lot of bands are doing lately. But if the All-American Rejects are ready to release music, I'm ready to hear it, because it's been a while and I've always had a lot of fandom for their band. Not so much like being a fanboy or whatever, but I just love their music. It always sounds genuine. And the last record was the first one that didn't really hit me as hard as the others did. So I'm excited to hear new music. And I really hope it's back into the style of Gives You Hell and all the songs from that record, because I think that record is absolutely phenomenal. So let's see what you guys have to say about it. I know that there's like a 30-second delay for the live chat. I apologize for that, but it's either that or it buffers every couple of seconds. So let's see what you guys have to say about it. Rybread says, I love all their albums personally, but Move Along is one of my favorite albums ever. I have not listened to them in such a long time, though. Yeah, I haven't listened to them in forever either, to be honest. But I can't remember the name of the record. Maybe it was called Gives You Hell, but that record was so brilliant. And that song that they did that was a duet, so brilliant. And there's a live version of it on YouTube that you should go check out. It's absolutely great. And they never play that song, which is just such a shame. But yeah, I'm really excited to hear new All-American Rejects music. I'm so over the whole teasing thing, because just release the fucking music, man. It's really not that difficult. Look at what Paramore did. They didn't tease anybody. They were just like, we're in the studio at one point. And then they're like, we're out of the studio at one point. And then they teased for like a day, released a song, and then they were like, oh yeah, and the record's coming out in 3 weeks. Do that. It's a perfect game plan. Keeps you fresh in people's minds before music comes out. So unless the All-American Rejects are going to tease and then just release the whole record straight away, then, whatever. Marvelous says, never heard of the All-American Rejects. Really? You should go and check out. You would have heard of them. You would have heard Dirty Little Secret for sure. It's a staple in this scene. And Rybread says, I kind of forgot about the All-American Rejects. Yeah, I think a lot of people have, and it's because they've taken so long between records. The last thing they did was Slam Dunk, I think 2 years ago. That was the last time they were like in the public eye. So, and yeah, I agree, Rybread. Everyone should do that Paramore plan of just release a song, album's coming out in a few weeks. It just keeps you fresh in people's minds, and then you can release the album, go straight on tour, 2 years, and then you can go away for a while, like Paramore did. They were away for a long time, and it just built anticipation. That's what builds into anticipation. Going away for a little while, it makes everybody want you to come back. All right, let's see. Katie says, do I like In Heart's Wake and Northlane? I like the first In Heart's Wake record, and I like the first 2 Northlane records. Everything after that, no. Speaking of Northlane, sorry, speaking of In Heart's Wake, their new record leaked this week. So they're obviously not very secure with their record. It doesn't come out till June. But it'll just give me time to review it. All right, let's move on. So Fall Out Boy have been teasing something this week, but it's been over. They put out a video with Brendon Urie in a purple suit because apparently purple is just the theme to this new record Mania. And it's got Young and Menace over the top of it. So I'm not really understanding what the point of this tease is, whether it's like the next song on the record and it's going to lead out of Young and Menace, or it's a collaboration with Brendon Urie, or something like that. But it's kind of an odd tease having Brendon there and then having Young and Menace over the top. You'd think they'd maybe tease, if it is a song, because it might not be a song, but if it is, you'd think they'd maybe tease like some of the instrumental of the track, or tease maybe his vocal part or something, just ambiently. But yeah, this one doesn't really quite make a lot of sense. And the rock media have been jumping all over it. Of course they have. And I didn't really want to cover it, but it's been a slow as fucking news week. But I'm not excited for new Fall Out Boy music, as you would have been able to tell from last week's podcast. I'm just not excited for it. And, you know, maybe it'll be great. You never know. Maybe it will be, but I can't see it being great. And if it is great, I'll be ecstatic. But I just can't see it happening. See what you guys are saying in the chat. Nothing as of yet. Just basically, there's nothing really to talk about with this tease, other than it looks pretty dumb, and I'm not excited for whatever is coming with it. If anything is going to come of it, because maybe they're just doing it to promote Young and Menace, even though there doesn't seem to be much point to it. And, you know, Panic at the Disco, who is basically Brendon, have been sucking Fall Out Boy's dick about this track ever since it came out, which is so odd. You'd think friends would want to be honest with each other. Robert says, is Fall Out Boy trying to make me hate them because they're succeeding? I miss how Fall Out Boy used to be. I don't think they're trying to make you hate them. I think they've got a really diluted sense of who they are as a band. Actually, what I did something this week, actually, that was really sad to do, but I felt like I had to do it. I went back and I watched their live soundstage performance from when Folie à Deux just came out, and they were playing all those songs and then a couple of the older ones. God, man, they were so amazing back then, and it just makes me so sad seeing where they've gone. As I said last week, I'm at the point now where I wish they'd never gotten back together. And to see them release music of this kind of quality now is just so sad. So sad, because they were such an amazing band. And, you know, just sucks, man. My favorite band doing shit. I think they're on my wall. Nope, they're not. I took them off. It's a shame. All right, let's move on. That's all the news that came out this week. Oh, wait. Nope, we've got one more question. Fall Out Boy. Did you like our song? Me. No. Fall Out Boy. Well, yeah. For the you iTunes listeners, that would have made no sense. But yeah, that comment is very good. You'd think that a band would listen to their fans, but that's the thing. Their fandom is saying that it's amazing just because it was released by Fall Out Boy. So you can't really trust that. Infinity on Hannah says, don't get me emotional. I know, I'm already getting emotional. Every time I have to talk about them now, I get emotional. And then I got emotional yesterday watching that live at Soundstage thing, because it was just so incredible back then. What an amazing band back then. I can't really say that anymore. All right, let's move on. That's all the news from this week, because it's been a slow as fuck news week. But I'm not going to skip any podcasts anymore, because life is short. So just live stream the shit out of it. Okay, so as you all know, because I've mentioned it many times already this week, Paramore are going to release their new record, After Laughter, next week. I'm going to be reviewing it. I'm hoping that I'll get it early so I can review it a little early and, you know, get my thoughts together pretty quick. If not, I'm not going to review it the day it comes out because I want to give it a bit of time to sink in. So I'll probably review it maybe the day after that or the day after that, because Paramore albums are something that you really have to digest, and there's a lot going on in them. And so you really need to, you know, be able to gather your thoughts on it because there's just so much going on. So what I've done for this week is, because it's been such a slow news week, I've decided to do a list on the top 10 forgotten Paramore songs. Now, this list, my criteria for it was, originally it was just going to be the top 10 Paramore songs. And then as I was doing it, I realized there's none of the big songs in this list. So basically, and they basically play none of these songs live either. So I decided to do the top 10 forgotten Paramore songs that I think nobody really talks about, songs that they never ever play live anymore that should really be staples in their set. If it was any other band, they'd be probably their best songs. And songs that they used to play in their sets, used to be really big within their fan base, and then since new records have come out, they've stopped playing them. So these are in no particular order. So I'm going to talk about each song for a little bit and then get you guys to comment on each one. I know there's a delay, but as soon as you hear me mention what the song is, just start doing comments in the live chat so I can read them out straight away. So first song is a song that used to be a staple in this band's live show. And ever since I watched The Final Riot a little while back, I've been wanting them to play this song again. So let's hope they bring it back at some point. So the first song I'm talking about is Here We Go Again. This is just such a groovy track with a great chord progression to open it up. And I love just the simplicity of the instrumental. This came off their first record, of course. So they were just basically being a pop punk band. And this is probably the best song on that record, in my opinion. I know that's going to be controversial because that album's got pressure on it and it's got emergency on it. But for me, Here We Go Again is probably the best song on that record easily. And I think it's because the chorus is just so massive. And yet I think the verses are maybe even catchier. And that's just such a cool thing when you can have multiple sections throughout a song that are just as memorable as each other and they complement each other. The thing I love about this song is that there's a real groove to the verses, just really cool, great guitar playing, great bass playing, and then the chorus opens up to this massive chorus that could fill an arena, and they were doing that on their first record. Just an amazing song that they should be playing more often, and it's sad that they're not. So let's see what you guys are saying about this track. Rybread says, Here We Go Again is brilliant. Just an amazing, great song. I completely agree. I really wish they'd play it live more, and so that's why it's in this list. And it was the first one that I actually thought of when I was putting this list together, because when Hard Times came out, I watched The Final Riot and I was like, oh, this is such a brilliant song. So let's move on to the next song. Number 2, I've got My Heart, a song that was probably the first song I ever heard from Paramore, and one that I know is very special to a lot of people. And I kind of understand why they don't play it anymore, because I have a feeling it was probably about Josh Farro. It kind of felt like it was kind of a duet between those two, especially when he comes in towards the end of the song. But again, watching The Final Riot and hearing that song live, just so big. And I love how soft it starts out and then just gets massive at the end with some screams coming in. And I understand why it's not in the set anymore, because it probably just doesn't fit the tone of what they're going for. But sometimes you have to sacrifice tone to just play big, massive songs that, again, came off the first record. That first record is absolutely incredible. And the fact that they nailed it on the first go is so impressive. But My Heart and Here We Go Again are probably the two best songs off of that record, followed by Pressure and Emergency. And as I said at the beginning of this list, I tried to avoid all of the big songs and just go for rarities and songs they don't play anymore. But My Heart, a brilliant song, and one that they should definitely be playing more often. Let's see what you guys are saying about it. Rybread is back again with another comment saying, My Heart has screaming in it, and since Paramore is probably my number 1 favorite band of all time, This song has screaming and is so emotional. It is a really emotional song. It's probably one of the most emotional songs that Paramore have written ever. I get that they can only play so many soft songs in a set, but this should definitely be one. I'm just going to take a drink quickly. All right, let's go on to the next song. Number 3 is All I Wanted from Brand New Eyes, a song that is probably the best vocal performance that Hayley Williams has ever put onto a record. That chorus is absolutely incredible. But the thing that really cements this song for me is the use of guitar tone throughout the track, how it opens up with this really twangy, clean guitar tone that sounds absolutely incredible and goes along with Hayley's voice perfectly. And then everything just drops away and it's just Hayley's vocal hitting these massive, massive high notes. And as I said, probably her best vocal performance of her entire career. She is an amazing vocalist. She's not one of the best on the planet, but when she nails it, she absolutely kills it. And on that song, probably the best that she's ever done. So, next track, another one from Brand New Eyes called Where the Lines Overlap, a song that they used to play in their set when the album came out, but ever since then, it's disappeared. And I never really hear anybody talking about this song. I feel like that is maybe because it's, towards the back end of that record, but it's just such a brilliant song. It's fast paced, it's heavy, it's got so much energy to it, and is probably, again, one of the biggest choruses they've ever done. It's a song that it's kind of hard to decipher what that song is about because there's lots of cryptic stuff in that record. There's some stuff that's just so obviously about Josh Farro, and that's obviously why there was so much tension within that band at that point. But this song can be so relatable to so many people, and that's really what I think is so special about it. It's just another great song. All these songs are brilliant songs, so I've got to stop saying that. But yeah, just amazing, amazing, amazing. So let's see what you guys are saying about it. Hey, Rybread says, Hayley Williams can't sing this song live because she'll lose her voice. It's a flawless song and the high note gave me chills and she has best vocals I've ever heard. See, this is the thing with live performance, and this is something that a lot of bands do. Just tune it half step down, full step down, and do it. Or record the song in a lower tuning. You know what I mean? It's very simple. In fact, I'm seeing All Time Low this week, they tune every single song half step down live because they want to preserve Alex's voice. It's easy to do. All right, next song is a song that I actually covered a couple of weeks ago. Number 5 is Hate to See a Heart Break from the self-titled record. An amazing, amazing song that, while I know it's gotten a lot of attention over the years just because of how great it is, I don't think it gets as much attention as it should. There were a lot of people before Hard Times came out anticipating a new record, and 2 of those people were Infinity on Hannah, who was watching this right now, and ARTV, who were just talking about the self-titled so much that I was just like, I haven't listened to that record in years. I'm going to go listen to it. And I had to stop at Hate to See Heartbreak, and just for probably about half an hour, 45 minutes, I just kept replaying that song over and over and over again. I couldn't go past it once it got up to that point, because it's just such an incredible song. And as soon as I heard it, I listened to it for that 45 minutes. I was like, I have to cover this because it's incredible. And is a song that not a lot of people talk about. And I know they put a big push into that song towards the end of the self-titled era, but they really should have put a bit more into that song promotion wise and started playing that song live. I'm not sure if they've ever played it live, but kind of like how, I'll go back to All Time Low again, kind of like how they play Therapy in every set. I feel like Hate to See a Heartbreak should be that softer moment in the set every night. I know I said that about My Heart, but Hate to See a Heartbreak should be another one as well. And I get why it would be a hard song to pull off live, but I think they should do it. Rybread says, Hate to See Heartbreak makes me bawl my eyes out. It doesn't make me bawl my eyes out, but it makes me very emotional. It's probably, again, one of Haley's best vocal performances. And yeah, absolutely great song. And thank you, Hannah. I'm glad you loved the cover of it. It was a lot of fun to do. And before I did the Paris one this week was probably my favorite one that I'd ever done. But I think I topped it this week, honestly. Not to sound up myself, but I really like that Paris song. All right, next song. Ankle Biters, also from the self-titled record. A song that doesn't get anywhere near enough credit, and a song that has so much energy. And as soon as I heard it on the record, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be absolutely spectacular live. And then they barely played it live, which was just so odd to me, because even like it's got the crowd chant in there that would just be so good live. And, you know, just such a catchy melody. And I can just imagine that playing that song in a band environment on stage live would be absolutely incredibly fun to do. And so I don't understand why they don't play it more, but hey, that's why it's on this list. So that's Ankle Biters. Next up is Miracle from Riot, a song that this was actually the first song that I heard from Paramore. It was actually the first song that I listened to from Paramore and then learnt to play. And it was another song that I was like, I got into Paramore through this song, listened to Riot, loved it, listened to the first record, loved it. Then went to the Soundwave Festival, I think it was 2009 or 10 that they played. It was just after Brand New Eyes came out, and I was like, why is this song not in the set? And I don't know why. I don't think they've ever played it. I think they might have played it once or twice when the record first came out, but it's a song that has a great guitar line to it and has a massive, massive chorus. And I really love the chords that are used in the verses as well. Just a really, really great, upbeat, fun song that, again, would be really, really great in a live environment. And yet they don't really play it that often. So that's why that's in this list. And just a really great song. Next up, also from Riot. These next, up until the end, are all from Riot. This one is one that had a lot of attention when the record first came out, was a staple in the set, was actually closing the main part of the set, I'm pretty sure, and was a song that I thought they'd be playing for the rest of their careers, and that's Hallelujah. Man, what a tune. And I kind of have a suspicion as to why they don't play it anymore. I think it's because it is religiously based. And one of the issues that came up between the rest of Paramore and Josh Farrow was their differences in their Christianity, because they were all Christians, but they had different views on it. And I kind of feel like this was maybe one of the songs that they disagreed on. I feel like it was a song that maybe Josh would want to play a lot, and then the rest of the band probably wouldn't, because they haven't brought it back since he's left. So just an absolutely brilliant song. I loved that on the final Riot that I've mentioned a lot in this list, they opened by playing the classic song Hallelujah before going into that song. Such a beautiful way to transition into it. And then the opening guitar line is just so iconic for that band. Probably one of the best guitar lines that they've ever written. And just such a disappointing thing that they don't play that song live anymore. But yeah, that's Hallelujah. An absolutely brilliant song. We've got 2 more songs on this list, and then I'm going to get onto a dream set list for All Time Low. So next song is a song that also was very highly praised from Riot, was a big staple of that album, and was a big staple live. And I understand why they took it out of the set, because they put out a part 2 for it. And so this song is Let the Flames Begin. I have a feeling they're going to bring it back into the set for this new tour. However, they didn't have it in the set at all for the self-titled era, really, except for maybe at the beginning, because they replaced it with part 2, which I understand. As soon as I heard part 2, I was like, it would be amazing if they played Let the Flames Begin and part 2 back to back in the live set. But they didn't do that. They just moved on to Let the Flames Begin. And what a brilliant, brilliant song. Probably one of the most eerie Paramore songs ever written. I love the guitar playing in this song. It's very ambient and very, as I said, eerie, and then just explodes into this massive chorus. That's probably one of the heavier choruses they've ever done. Just a brilliant, brilliant song, and one that I hope they bring back. I would love to see one day them play Let the Flames Begin into part 2, because I feel like they would blend really well into each other, and it would just basically sound like a really great 7-minute Paramore song. So Let the Flames Begin is an absolutely brilliant song, and one that, as I said, I hope they bring back. And then finally, we are finally at the end of this list. This is a song that used to open their set, had a really cool intro to it, and ever since I think Riot finished, they haven't played it. And this song is called Born for This. As I said, and I've mentioned many times doing this list, I watched the final Riot just after Hard Times came out, and hearing them open the set with that song, especially with the intro that they had for that set, such a brilliant opener. It was actually one of the first songs that I learnt to play on guitar from Paramore. The first one was Miracle, and then I think it was Born for This after that. And was one of the songs that I think was very underrated from that record. I think a lot of people talk about, For a Pessimist, Misery Business, That's What You Get, Let the Flames Begin, and Hallelujah. And they don't really mention Born for This and Fences in the conversation for why Right is a brilliant record. And Born for This is probably one of the better songs on that record. And this is a 10 out of 10 record we're talking about. And this is probably one of the standouts for me. I'm pretty sure it's the last track on the record, if I'm not mistaken. But just an absolutely brilliant song. One that I wish they would bring back into the set just every now and then. Basically, my whole point to this list, and I'm going to put the playlist for this list up on my Spotify. So the link will be down below after the live stream is finished. But the thing about this list is I would love for them to see this video, get this list, and then when they're putting their live sets together, have all the staples in there, and then just every night have all these songs learnt. Every night, just choose 2 songs from this list and chuck it in the set. Be perfect. Because then, people would get to hear these classic songs again. And it would probably make a lot of people very excited to see new Paramore sets. Not only with the great new songs that they're putting out now, but just hearing rarities like these in the set would be great. So that's why I put this list together. I'm really excited to hear their new record next week. I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I really hope it's going to be phenomenal. The first 2 singles have made me think it's going to be phenomenal. But that's my list for the top 10 forgotten Paramore songs. I hope you enjoyed that list. And so let's move on to the final thing that I'm going to talk about on this live stream. And then I'm going to let you guys ask me some questions. So this week, I'm going to a few shows. I'm going to review them. Probably on the podcast, I might do the Architects one with my brother because he's going with me, and he hasn't seen Architects since Tom passed away. So I want to sit down with him and talk to him about that. And yeah, it's going to be another emotional show. But I'm also going to go see All Time Low at a massive venue in Sydney called the Horton Pavilion. I think it's like 6,000 capacity. And they're going to be supported by Neck Deep and the Main, which is going to be incredible. Is it bad that I'm more excited for the Main than anybody else on that lineup? Anyway, so what I thought I'd do is, because again, it's been a slow news week, I thought I'd put together my dream set list for the All Time Low Last Young Renegade tour. Now, my rules were I had to have the staples in there, so songs like Weightless and Damned If I Do and all those kind of songs. But I wanted to chuck some rarities in there. And I had to keep it to 18 songs because for a band with this many records, they should be playing for 2 hours or 2.5 hours, really. So I made the set long because they should be playing a long set. I put some songs they barely ever play in there. And really, I had to put a song in from every single record. Those are my rules. So let's go through it. I'm not going to make this a long thing like I just did for the Paramore thing. I'm just going to talk about each song and talk about why I think it should be in the set, and just try and keep it for like 30 seconds for each song. So let me just have a quick drink. All right, so opening the set is a song that they play in every set, but this is a perfect opener, but I'm going to do a specific thing for this song. So I want them to open with Lost in Stereo, but I want them to do Lost in Stereo with the introduction from straight to DVD one. So one of the best introductions to a concert I've ever watched, and then going straight into Lost in Stereo is just such a great thing. Great song, a staple in the set. So they're going to play anyway. So why not have them open the set with that introduction that they have on straight to DVD? Then I'd have them go straight into So Long Soldier. Why? Because it's incredibly energetic, probably the most fast-paced all-time low song that there is, and would just get the crowd so pumped up for the set. Just going from Lost in Stereo, an anthemic song like that, straight into a really fast-paced song like So Long Soldier would be perfect. Then I'd get them to go into Forget About It from Dirty Work, a song that's severely underrated, has a massive, massive chorus, and some really cool synth sounds going on. It's a really good jump up and down song that would lead straight out of So Long Soldier really, really well. And yeah, just a song that I wish they'd play more often. And so having it that early in the set, I think would be a really good move. Next up, I'd get them to go into Coffee Shop Soundtrack, a song that they barely ever play. Everybody always asks them to play JC Ray from the Put Up or Shut Up EP. And I'm not sure why they don't go, you should be playing Coffee Shop Soundtrack more. I know it was a staple in the set for a very long time, and it was always in the set pretty early. So that's why I put it in there. It's one of my favorite songs from All Time Low that they've ever written. And yeah, that's why it's in this list. Next up, I'd get them to go into probably one of their biggest songs of all time, Damned If I Do, Damned If I Don't. They play this song later in the set a lot, and I think having it earlier in the set just to, open with Lost in Stereo, which is an anthem, do 3 songs that they barely ever play, and then go straight into another anthem, Damned If I Do Ya. Really, really great song that they're always going to play live, so why not have it early in the set? Then get them to go into Cinderblock Garden, a song that they don't play enough, and probably my favorite song off of Future Hearts. It's between that and Old Scars, and it is an absolutely massive song, and a song that, knowing a lot of All Time Low fans personally, is a song that they wish that they would play more often, and I'm not sure why they don't play it that often. It's such a brilliant, brilliant song, and they even did an acoustic version for it on Future Hearts. But I'm not sure why they don't do it very often, but that's a song that they should definitely be doing. Then I get them to go into another staple of the set that they'll always play, somewhere in Neverland, sorry. Probably one of the biggest choruses that All Time Low have ever written, and just an absolutely brilliant song that they're going to play anyway, and having it right in the middle of the set, I think would be just a brilliant place for it. Next, I'd get them to go into one song that they haven't played in years and years and years and years and years, and that would be Hollywood You Turn Me On. Now, there's a video of them doing this song live in Sydney back before Nothing Personal came out. It's a pro shot video from Moshcam, but that song is just so massive live, and just such a sing-along chorus. I know All Time Low are known for their sing-along choruses, but this one's just one of their best ever. So it would be really good to hear that song again and hear them play something from not the first record, the second record, so I'm wrong, it's right, that's not Remembering Sunday or Dear Maria. You know what I mean? So I've got a bit of a sore throat. All right. Then I get them to go into the one new song that I have in the set, and that's Last Young Renegade. Why? Because it's classic All Time Low, and it's going to be massive live. The reason I didn't put Dirty Laundry in this list is because I've seen the live performances of this song, and it just looks like it's not going to be a good live song. It looks like it's going to be really plotty and slow and just take all the pace out of the set. So I'm not really excited to see that song live. I really do like the song. I really, really do, but I just don't think it's a good live song. So that's why that's not in here. But Last Young Renegade, it's my favorite song that I've heard from the record so far, and just is going to be a staple in their set, I think, for a long, long time. Then I get them to go into Backseat Serenade because it's a brilliant, brilliant song. And it's just so much fun, upbeat, another jump up and down song, and the chorus is absolutely massive. There's not much more you can say about it. It's just one of their best songs ever, comes off their best record, and is just brilliant. Then I'd get Alex to do the acoustic set, and I'd get him to do 2 songs. And of course, Therapy is going to come after this song because that's always in the set, and it's a great live song. But first, I'd get him to play an acoustic version of Lullabies. Now, I get why they don't play lullabies. I know it's hard for them to play. However, it's a brilliant song and something that I think one day they will bring it back into the set. But hearing Alex do it acoustic, as I know he did a couple of years ago for a charity thing, would just be so amazing. Just is a great, great song. And then, of course, I get them to go into therapy. Then I'd get them to close out the set with the 2-punch of Time Bomb and Weightless. Why? Because they're 2 of their biggest singles of all time, 2 of their biggest choruses of all time, and songs that everybody will know and everybody will be pumped to see, and great ones to close out the set. Weightless, I know, is earlier in the set now. It's kind of where I put Damned If I Do Ya, but it is a great song to close out the main set. And it's just a song that even the most casual all-time low fan will love. Okay, then for the encore, I'd make it a 4-song encore. I'd get them to open up the encore with Guts, because it's probably the best guitar line they've ever written, and it's my favorite all-time low song of all time. And it's a song that they never play anymore. I've seen them play it a couple of times, but they need to play it more often because it's an absolutely massive song. I know I've heard Alex say that it's one of his favorite songs he's ever written. So why they don't play it live, I'm not sure. But it's an absolutely brilliant song, and I'd get them to open up the encore with that. Then I get them to go into Kids in the Dark because it's, again, one of my favorite songs from Future Hearts and is absolutely massive. I then get them to go into Old Scars, Future Hearts, because it's just so classic, all-time low, really energetic, really fun, and a great song with a great chorus. And then I get them to close with, of course, Dear Maria. So that is my list on that. I'm really excited to see the set, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it. I'm not excited to see Dirty Laundry live, but I really hope they play Last Young Renegade. I think I'm going to have to cave and listen to Life of the Party before I go and see the set, because they're probably going to play it, and I want to know what it is. So I'm excited to see the set. I'm going to be really interested to see what they dig into as far as back catalog goes. But yeah, should be good. So before I clock off, it sounds like I'm at work. Not clock off, but do you guys have any questions for me? I know there's only 3 of you viewing right now, but if you have any questions for me, I'd really like to answer them, and then I'll sign out. I'll give it a couple of minutes. Sylvester says she's more excited for the main on the all-time low tour. I am as well. I cannot wait to see Black Butterflies and Deja Vu live. It's probably going to be really emotional for me because, I don't know, as I said in my review of the record, whenever I hear that song, I get emotional, and they've been opening their set with it, and it's been leading in with Lovely straight into that. I can't wait to see that song live. I can't wait to see the main. The last time I saw them for the American Candy Tour was spectacular, and so I can't wait to see them live. Is there anybody wanting to ask any questions? I usually have a lot more questions than this, but today has been a bit of a slow one. Rybread says, all-time low don't have a bad song, but Life of the Party is probably their worst song, in my opinion. Really? How about Six Stones and Techno? I think that's a bit worse. Sylvester says, best gig you've ever been to. For me, this is a band that you've probably never heard of, but for me, it's Steven Wilson. He's a progressive rock artist. He was the lead vocalist of the band Porcupine Tree. He's also the one of the lead vocalists for Blackfield, whose album I reviewed earlier this year. But the musicianship in that show was absolutely spectacular. He had some of the best musicians on the planet playing with him, and the live show was just something else. As far as bands from this scene go, that's a good question. I'd probably have to say I saw All Time Low in a very, very small venue a couple of years ago, just after Don't Panic came out. That was spectacular. Who else, though? Let me quickly go through my phone and see who's on here that I've seen. And you guys can keep asking questions as I do that. So, one of the best live bands I've ever seen is probably the Main or Moose Blood. They're 2 of the best that I've ever seen, and they were so simplistic, but absolutely great. Rybread says, I've never listened to Steven Wilson, but I've heard a lot of him. about him. He's a real musician's artist, really. He's just spectacular playing, spectacular musicianship, brilliantly written songs, expansive, progressive, odd at times, but yeah, one of my favorite artists, and I can't wait for his new record to come out this year. It's going to be absolutely great. Any other questions, people? All right. If there's no more, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for watching the Let's Talk podcast this week. I've had a lot of fun doing it. I know it's been a bit of a slow week, and I didn't expect this to go as long as it did. I kind of expected this to be about half an hour, but I really made that Paramore thing last us a while, and I'm glad I got to go that deep into it. So thank you guys for watching. It always means a lot. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I'll have my review of the new Motionless in White record out tomorrow. And also, please go over to iTunes, hit subscribe over there. You don't have to download the podcast, just hit subscribe so that I have subscribers over there, and leave a review, preferably 5 stars, because I think I'm doing a pretty damn good job. Other than that, this week I will have reviews out of the new records from Paramore and Dream Car, and I'm going to also be doing gig reviews of Architects supported by Ocean Grove, and as well as All Time Low supported by Neck Deep and The Mains. Thank you so much for watching today, guys. You guys have been absolutely great once again, and I will see you again next week. Fresh Currents.